Tyson Helton. Coach will open it up with a statement and then we'll jump into questions.
Yeah, big conference game on the road this week. Really excited to get back in conference play. Going to play a really good Missouri State team. Coach Beard and his staff do a great job and should make for a great conference game. I know our guys will be anxious to go out there and compete. With that said, questions?
Sure, obviously this is kind of a unique situation with so many ties between Missouri State staff and Western Kentucky. Just kind of hit on that. I mean, you coach some of these guys, you coach with them.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, it's really neat. You know, kind of everything comes full circle. First, you know, Coach Beard, Ryan Beard, known him for a long time. He does a great job, and you know, Max Halpin played for us here when I was the offensive coordinator. He's the offensive line coach. Ace Wells and Chris Franklin and athletic director. You know, there's a lot of close relationships, and so it makes for a really cool game, and it'll be neat to compete. And you know, at the end of the day, football's football. You know, so players got to go out there and they're the ones competing. And but I think our guys are more excited about getting back in conference play, playing a really good football team in Missouri State. And if you want to be a good team, you got to go on the road and get those big conference wins. So our guys will be excited to do that if we can get it done.
You see
Them being a conference newcomer are more unknowns.
Say that again.
With Missouri State being a conference newcomer, are there more unknowns or maybe the familiarity?
Yeah, you know, we got a couple games now to evaluate them. Like everybody, they've gotten better and better and better, and very impressed with their football team. They got good skill players on offense. Quarterback does a good job. Offensive line's big physical bunch. Defensively, they run a good scheme, very sound with what they do. They're good in space, good tacklers. So they're a well-trained bunch. So we got good, you know, film to evaluate, as do they. We kind of know what each other does, and it's just who can execute the best.
Do you see any similarities between their program and Western? Have you kind of imported or exported a Western Kentucky way of doing things that shows up with Missouri State, or is it just another team?
I can't speak. I've never been there, and you know, so I can't speak to that. I know there's a lot of people there that I like, that I have close relationships with, and you know, we've been in similar systems and similar ways of doing things, so I would think there's probably some similarities there, yeah. But as far as, this will be my first time to go there, I hear it's a great place, and should be a good environment to play in.
You know, Coach, since you took over here, it seems like the tops have been towards the top of the conference consistently, year in and year out. You know, do you look excited, or are you excited to look forward to this part of the year every single year?
Yeah, I think, you know, this is a part of the year where you know, these road tests with the conference, that's a box you got to check. And, you know, if you want to be in it down the stretch to go compete for a championship, these are the games you got to go win. And so that's what makes it exciting. And so this is a box that we need to check. It will be a very competitive game. It'll be a 4-quarter game. I expect it to be that. We just need to get there in the 4th quarter and go win it.
You know, back on the road for the first time since that Toledo loss. Obviously, that was a couple weeks ago. Is there anything you took from that loss, maybe beyond the road, for this game?
Yeah, I think our thought of preparation going to Toledo was good. I thought our game plans were good. We just got behind the 8 ball really fast, and so that took us out. So you definitely don't want to be that on the road. You want to stay on track and make sure your game plan is in place and you're doing the things that you planned. And so that'll be the main thing, is executing, taking care of the ball, not letting them find the end zone. You know, I always talked about the ball. They got a good offense, and they got a good play caller. You know, the offense coordinator does a fantastic job, and so they're going to make their plays. The biggest thing is keep them from scoring touchdowns, and so that's the big thing. And so I feel like we'll have a good game plan. You know, it's just a matter of going to execute it.
Last week's game was a pretty good illustration of that one.
Yeah, I thought Nevada was going to be that way. Nevada went about how I thought it would go. A very competitive team. Thought they were good up front. It was a gritty game. I thought the defense was really going to have to be the ones that keep us in it, and they did. And then offensively, I thought we moved the ball. We would stall out, or we would not find the end zone, or we had a turnover. And So we got to stay on track, and when you're on the road, you got to score. You got to find that end zone.
You know, we know what Maverick's capable of in the past game, but this weekend we saw the run game really expand and explode in that performance. You feel like that helps, open the eyes of maybe an opposing defense where you guys have more flexibility on the field?
Well, we're always going to take what the defense gives us, and versus Nevada, they were saying you're going to have to run the football, and so hats off to Coach Bowie, our offensive coordinator. He recognized that. You got a good quarterback, good passing game. We all love to throw it, but sometimes you got to run to win. And in the fourth quarter, that's what we did. And if you want to be a good football team, that's what you got to do. So we'll always take what they give us. We'll see what Missouri State's given us, and we'll try to take advantage of that.
You had 2 new starters on the offensive line this past week in Church and Nitta. Was that performance-based or injury-based, and were you happy with that group?
I was happy with the group. I thought they performed well. I think it was more of an injury health-based. I do think they played well enough for those guys to compete, and so we'll have to go out there at practice this week and kind of see where everybody's at. Because of the health of the other players, we'll have to see where they're at health-wise too. So there's a lot of things. It's still early in the week, so I'll know a little better later in the week on what that looks like.
A little bit off topic here, Blanco Brown's coming to the homecoming concert. How excited are you for that in a couple of weeks?
I'm sure everybody will be really excited. I'll be focused on ball. That's all I'm focused on. But I'm sure it'd be great for everybody else. I would love to be out there in the crowd, but I got a job to do. So.
Also a little off topic. How well do you know Deuce? I mean, I'm sure you've been around him, Deuce Bailey.
A little bit, familiar, and so we'll I'll leave it at that. So
this is the first 2 weeks in a row where you're playing programs that have risen up. And
say that again. I'm sorry.
This is the first of 2 games in a row where you're playing programs that are in their first year in FBS. You have some experience playing programs like that through CUSA.
Yeah.
Just kind of give me your overall impression of taking on a school that is kind of playing that first.
I really don't look at it that way. A tremendous respect you look at Missouri State, who's a really good quality football team that has an opportunity to make a run in this conference. You look at what Delaware's doing right now. You look over the history of the teams, James Madison, when they jumped up, how quick they were competitive. Jacksonville State, extremely competitive. So a lot of good football teams out there. And I think people have misconceptions of, an FCS program moving up. There's a lot of FCS programs that are just as good as Division I programs. We see that every week, right? So I really don't look into that at all. I have tremendous respect. When I turn on the film, I'm not looking at the name of the football team. I'm looking at the quality of the performance and the job that they do, and have tremendous respect for Missouri State for sure. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.